Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to the disgusting little hovel that I call home here in Fallout 76. In my most recent Fallout video, I showed you guys my settlement, as well as, of course, my character and his weapons and his build, and that was a very fun video for me to put together. So today I thought it would be fun to give you guys an update, because the whole reason why I built my settlement here, of all places, was because I was tired of being poor in this game. I was tired of not having any caps and not being able to afford things at vendors and not having any ammo or materials or things like that. So I basically wanted to start farming things, right? And this seemed like a pretty ideal location because right up the road we have Sutton Station, which is a raider vendor bot, and right down the road we have Charleston Station, which is a responders vendor bot. So pretty much every day I can walk out of my camp, go up the railroad, and get 200 caps from this vendor, and then go back down this railroad to this vendor here and get 200 caps from that vendor as well. Then, of course, I have all the other locations around me, and it turns out this location is much better than I initially thought. While it's nice to be so close to two separate vendors, this area is really good for farming materials and ammo and food and water and pretty much everything else, which is what I want to share with you guys here in this video. I want to talk about my farm here, and I also want to take you guys out on a supply run and show you just how easy it is to get a bunch of caps and materials here in Fallout 76. So if that sounds interesting, sit back, relax, and enjoy. So first things first here, let's go ahead and talk about the farm. If you guys haven't already, I highly recommend planting a farm at your settlement because not only are farms completely self-sustaining, but they also give you a constant supply of food as well as things to sell to vendors. As you guys can see here, I have a bunch of blackberries planted right here and then a bunch of mute fruit planted over here. Now, the reason why I chose these two crops was because that's all I really had on me at the time. This entire little farm here started with one blackberry and one mute fruit, and it's all completely self-sustaining. It gives you all the materials you need to continue planting more crops, and allow me to explain how that works. It's not as if, you just put down one blackberry plant and then eventually a bunch of other ones will pop up. You plant down one blackberry plant, and then you continue to harvest from it, right? And that gives you more blackberries. To make more blackberry plants, you need to have blackberries as well as fertilizer. Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky. You can find fertilizer out in the world by looting various locations and stuff like that, but you can also get fertilizer from spoiled meat, spoiled fruit, as well as spoiled vegetables. So that's why I say this is completely self-sustaining. Over time, if you just gather a bunch of blackberries from your plants and let them spoil in your inventory, you can then take those spoiled vegetables and fruit and turn it into fertilizer, which will then allow you to make even more plants, right? So eventually, over time, your tiny little farm will turn into a giant plantation. And allow me to go ahead and grab all these really quickly. There we go. If we go ahead and check my inventory here, I have a lot of these things just sitting on me, right? If we go all the way down here, I have 42 blackberries, and I have 30 mute fruit, right? Which, again, I can use to eat, I can use to sell to vendors, I can use to just sit in my inventory and eventually spoil to then turn into more fertilizer. So it's completely self-sustaining, and it's a great way to farm caps here in Fallout 76. So I highly recommend, as soon as you guys can, planting a farm at your settlement. Now, another thing I like to do here when it comes to getting caps and farming different items is to go on supply runs, which is what we're going to be doing now. What I'm going to do is go from my camp here all the way down to Charleston Station, and then make my way to Sutton Station, and also go to Camp McClintock. Like I said, I only farm this one little spot right here, but it's absolutely insane how many materials that you can actually find within this little area. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go on a farming run, though I would like to give you guys the caveat that I have not perfected this route whatsoever. Initially, my favorite thing to do was to go up and down the railroad tracks, right? Because it's kind of cool from a roleplay perspective to walk up and down the railroad tracks, but it's actually much better to walk through the hills. And the reason why is because as you walk through the hills, you're not only going to find a bunch of wood like I did right there, but you're also going to find a bunch of these plants. And every time you grab these plants, just basically picture those to be caps, right? So flower times 2? No, caps times 2 pretty much, because I can sell all this to the various vendor bots, right? Now, before we go any further as well, I would like to give you guys 2 more recommendations. Number 1, this is actually pretty crucial, use the green thumb perk, right? It gives you twice as much when you're harvesting flora. So anytime you find a plant out in the wilderness or you're harvesting fruit and stuff like that at your farm, it gives you twice as much, which is fantastic. And I also recommend, if you're looking to farm things and you're trying to be relatively efficient, use a melee weapon, right? I'm not even like that built into strength. I do have 10 strength, I suppose, so I'm kind of built into it a bit, but use a melee weapon. The reason why is because if you're going to be using actual guns to kill the super mutants and the, scorched and stuff like that. Oh, hello. Really quickly to finish my point here, let me give this guy a hearty hello. I don't know if he wants to say hello back, or maybe if he's scared of me. I just want to say hi. I'm not here to... I'm just going to make my way back down the hill. Oh, we got hello. All right, give him a thumbs up. Give him a heart, and then give him a thumbs up. There we go. But to quickly finish my point, if you're farming things, like, you're killing super mutants and scourge and stuff like that, and you're using guns... Well, there we go. Well, it's not very good to do that because, of course, shooting your gun is going to degrade it over time, which is going to make it so, you have to spend materials to repair it. It's going to make it so you have to go through ammo. You have to find more ammo over time. It's not really all that efficient, right? Which is why I recommend just making yourself an axe. The axe I put together here is not fancy. It's just a multi-purpose axe for a level 35. It's not very crazy, but it one-shots pretty much everything that I run into. So yeah, just use a melee weapon when you're farming and use your real guns for when you're out doing missions and questing and doing things like that. That's my recommendation, but of course, do whatever you guys want to do. But like I said, just kind of follow the railroad tracks, but don't actually be on the railroad tracks, right? You just stay up here on the hills, gather all the flowers you can, and fight all the bees you can with your big axe. For some reason, you can kill a swarm of bees by swinging an axe at them here in this game. I don't know how that works exactly, but it does indeed work. Oh, where do you think you're going, bees? Where do you think you're going? Now, what's interesting about this route here is you can actually find some honey, but honey doesn't appear to respawn all that well in my experience. We'll see if it did. Nah, see, the beehives haven't actually replenished their honey yet. Maybe it takes a little time. It would make sense, I suppose, for the bees to replenish their honey. But what's weird is if you sign out of the game, right? You go to your camp, you sign out, you sign back in. Your crops at your farm will typically have grown back by that point, and then like all the wood and all the flowers I picked up between here and my camp, typically those things will have come back as well. So that's a bit of a weird discrepancy in my opinion. But again, just continue along. You can see down there at the bottom of the hill, or maybe you can't actually with the video, but actually, better yet, there's a beaver in front of us. Right there, we got our binoculars. Just keep on following the train tracks, but do so from up here in the hill, and kill the beaver if you see it. I don't know, those abominations have to die, right? Plus, you can use their meat for stuff. And then continue along until you actually see the train itself. The freight cars in the back are going to signify where certain things can actually be found. Not because it was designed this way, but it's because I've walked this path so many times that I'm starting to figure it out. Again, I haven't perfected it, but I'm starting to figure some things out. So right here, you guys can see there is going to be the beginning, or I suppose the end of the train, right? And there is going to be the very first orange freight car on the train itself. Well, you're looking for the second orange freight car, which is going to be right there. And the reason why you're harvest a firecracker plant right there. And the reason why you're looking for the second one is right up the hill from it, you typically can find mute fruit as well as blackberry. So if you're looking for your to build up your farm and you're don't have a lot of blackberry or mute fruit right away, you can find some right here, right above the second orange freight car. Now once you do that, then head up the hill this way, and I can't remember if I go left or right. I'm pretty positive I go to the right here, and you're going to find another blackberry plant up here towards the top of the hill. You can find some aster right there, and then I believe it's like right around the corner here. So there it is! It makes me so happy that I can remember all this stuff. I can like find it and stuff like that. But once you get that, then you head down the hill, and we're about to run in to a couple of scripted events. Now, these are going to be different every time, but one of the things that they do here in Fallout 76 is they have these events to try to make the world feel more alive, but it's not really the same as it was in like New Vegas or Fallout 4 or anything, because they happen every single time you go there. So we can cross this bridge, which is typically what I like to do, but then I discovered it's actually better to go down underneath the bridge. Once you go down here, you're probably going to find an event happening. So let's see if there's going to be, yep, right here we have some Scorch. Sometimes you'll find the Scorch, sometimes you'll find robots, sometimes you'll find super mutants. In fact, allow me to edit this in. I recorded this when I was doing a run the other day, and as you guys can see, as soon as I got down here, the event that happens is freaking nuts. Like, there was vertebrates, there were robots, it was just It was freaking nuts. But I really enjoyed it because, you know, it's interesting to see different things happening every time you go on a supply run. And different things do happen every single time, but things will always happen. So it's different, but it's also kind of the same. But as you guys saw, you know, just use your melee weapon. I mean, you don't really need to use proper guns. But going back to our actual run here, let's go up and kill us some Scorched. I prefer when the super mutants are here because super mutants can actually drop you money, or caps rather, but the Scorched also drop you guns and random supplies and things like that. Now, once you're down here as well, once you're underneath the bridge, it turns out that a raider of sorts... Who's attacking me? Oh, we got robots on the hills behind us. Okay. That's actually kind of similar to what happened to me the other time I did a run. So go up here, kill our Protectron here, grab our fusion cells and our lead scraps. Kill you guys up real good. Keep in mind, I have 1 endurance. I feel as though one of the things Bethesda can do, and maybe they're going to, you know, save this for when they make it so you can play this game solo or have your own servers, is allow you to increase the difficulty. Get down here. Increase the difficulty of the game. Because as you guys saw, my health didn't really move whatsoever. My armor isn't great. I mean, it's level 40 armor, so maybe that's part of it. Some of it's level 30 and stuff. But I've got 1 endurance. I feel as though I should be taking a lot more damage than I am. But I'm just not. But going back to it, underneath here, this used to be a river, right? Just a beautiful river. And as a result, whenever we see land here and trees and stuff like that, that was like a little island, quote unquote, of the river. I think there's an actual proper term. Let me know the proper term for these little land masses down in the comments. But here you're going to find a raider. And typically he'll have a typewriter right there with him, which you can loot that, which of course typewriters are fantastic. But it looks like somebody's already been here and looted that here in my server, in my world. But if you continue on just ahead of him, you're going to find more blackberries. Which is fantastic. So that's pretty much it for the initial part of the run. And then you go and cross what was left of the river again, and typically you find another event. Here we have a bunch of feral ghouls. Sometimes you'll find robots coming down. Sometimes you'll find a bunch of rats here. Sometimes you'll find super mutants and things like that. But I'm all for killing the ghouls. Again, not wasting my weapons, not wasting ammo, nothing like that. Just using my melee weapon, even though I'm a scientist character. Although, to be fair, my scientist character, from like a narrative perspective, I mean, he wants to be a scientist. He wants to do as much as he can with science, but he's discovered that he has to, you know, survive first before he can just, you know, put on his lab coat and start, you know, messing around with lasers and such. So it kind of makes sense from a story perspective as well. But once you do that, you can just basically run all the way over to the Sutton Station. Ooh, we don't typically find radstags here. Go ahead and get the radstag. Radstag meat, of course, will increase your carry weight, which is very good when you're trying to farm and do stuff like that. But before we head inside the Sutton Station, let's go ahead. Oh, we're freezing. This was happening earlier. I think it has something to do with the update. Yeah, I think it has something to do with the most recent update. Whenever I come down here at Charleston, the game likes to just stutter and freeze. Or maybe it's something on my end. I'm not really sure. But inside this building here, we have a couple of ammo boxes and things like that. So be sure to come inside and grab what you can. Sometimes you'll find some good food. Sometimes you'll find ammo, materials, and things of that nature. My goodness, my FPS is absolutely tanking in this area. And it's only been happening since last night. And so I'm wondering what exactly is causing this. But regardless, once you're here, this may actually end up freezing again on me. I don't know. Once you're inside, you can talk to the responder vendor bot. Notice how he is a vendor bot responder. That means his inventory is not like the one up at Sutton Station. That's a raider bot. This is a responder bot. So every day you can come down here, every 24 hours, and he'll have new inventory as well as 200 new caps that you can sell him stuff for, and then get all 200 caps from him. Let's see what he's got on him. Anything neat? Nothing particularly good there. Walking cane, pistol, nothing really good. Sometimes they have some really good stuff. It was actually here that I got my radium rifle, and I was pretty happy about that, so check out the junk. Ooh, fertilizer. Bulk fertilizer. That's 20 fertilizer for only 94 caps? Now available. That's absurd. I'll take that. I'm trying to save caps here, but I'm going to use that to plant a giant plantation, which will help me out later on. And of course, as with all of these stations and stuff, your stash is right here. So what I'm doing to kind of make things easier on myself is I found a bunch of these pistols and stuff like that, right? A bunch of pistols, a bunch of boards. Let's just go straight up the weapons here. A bunch of boards, Bowie knife. I think I have a bunch of, hunting rifles in here as well that I get off of killing the super mutants. And I just keep all that stuff here, right, in my stash. And then when I'm ready to sell it, I come up here and sell it. Now, a bit of a tip. My advice is, even if you want to build into charisma, at least put 3 points into charisma so you can build up the hard bargain 3, which will give you a much better buying and selling prices. And also, alcohol. Try and find it. Not all alcohol, however, mostly beer. Beer will increase your charisma, but wine will increase your strength, for example, and give you max AP. But mostly beer. If you have beer, use beer because it will give you +1 or whatever to your charisma. And be sure to take that before you talk to the vendor because they'll give you better prices and stuff. But another tip I can give you guys is when you come to places like this, just simply look around. If you're struggling early on, like I was when I was first starting to work on getting caps and stuff like that, I was struggling to have enough things on me to actually properly sell to the vendor. But if you just look around, this is a bad example because this place has been completely looted by other people. But if you just look around, typically you'll find a bunch of beer bottles and, different items all around the station itself. And each one of them typically goes for at least 1 cap. Like right there, a pack of cigarettes. I can go in there and sell that back to them, even though I only found it here and didn't actually bring it with me. So that is one part, I suppose, right here. Just a bunch of beer bottles, right? But this is one part of my little run here. Now what I'd like to do is I fast travel back to my camp. This is why the camp is right here. It's so convenient. It's so freaking convenient that I love how the loading screens, by the way, are from screenshots that you take. I found that lab coat. The lab coat that I still have to this day up in the Gorge Junkyard, I think it's actually called. Allow me to check the map. I'm pretty sure it's called Gorge. I want to be sure. Yeah, the Gorge Junkyard. My brother and I owned that junkyard, and we were farming materials from it. And I was just searching, and there was a boat in the junkyard, and inside a footlocker on that boat in the junkyard was that lab coat. And I still have it on me in my inventory to this day because I love that lab coat, Actually, we can put it on really quick. There it is, the old lab coat that I found there. And because I want to be a scientist character, I figured, I should go ahead and probably rock that. But let's go back to the Explorer outfit because it makes more sense given what we're doing here. Now, right up the road is going to be Camp McClintock, but we're not going to be heading there just yet. Instead, we're going to be following the road once again. But this time, we're going to be heading up to the Sutton Station, which is not very far away whatsoever. But I actually just discovered this on my last run going through here. So, at the top of this hill, of course, good advice is to go through the hills and grab all the plants and stuff like that you can find. At the top of the hill, there's a little bit of a shack. Now, I only found it the last time I did this, so I don't know exactly where it is. Let's just run up this way. I'm trying to keep an eye out for wood and plants and stuff like that as I do this. But up here towards the top of the hill is going to be a shack, which is actually, yeah, here it is. It's a bit of a depressing scene, if I'm being honest, but you can find some materials here as well. So, ooh, communist bots. I hate these things because they're so fast, and this is a slow swinging weapon. You're ruining the sadness of this location, by the way, with your communist propaganda. Ooh, this guy actually, I don't want that. A red star pin. That gives you gold. That's neat. Never actually saw that before. I found the propaganda posters, but never the star pin. That's kind of neat. All right, but here's the sad thing, by the way. There's a do not enter sign, and then there's a skeleton. There's a teddy bear, a baby bottle, and a rattle. And it's not here right now, but you can see the bat. But last time there's a baseball and a baseball glove and a baseball bat, and then there's just a skeleton. So one's to assume either somebody came here after their child died, or someone was up here with their child, and they both ended up dying. But they rarely actually show dead babies here in the Fallout franchise. Is there any baby skeletons ever in the history of the series? I don't think so, but it's kind of implied that somebody was holding out up here with their child. And, yeah. So, a little depressing. Just a little bit. Just a little bit on the depressing side. But that's okay, because we're going to go back down the hill here, and we are going to go into Sutton Station. Now, I haven't really explored this area up here all that well, so maybe there are going to be some blackberries and stuff like that up here that we can find. But so far, just lots of plants and lots of wood, which is very nice. But then you make your way down, and here you are at Sutton Station. Once again, this is a raider station, so it's a raider vendor bot. So this bot will have different caps than the responder bot down there. So every day you come up here, you get your 200 caps, and you go back down there and get your other 200 caps. And like I said, if you're low on items to sell, just look around, man. This was a raider settlement. So check out, there's freaking beer bottles everywhere. There's actual vodka right there, which will increase your strength, which will therefore increase your carry weight for later on. I mean, grab all this stuff and sell it to the vendors, right? Unfortunately, I sold a bunch of stuff to vendors early this morning, and you have to wait 24 hours, I believe, before they get their caps back. So the raider bot here is not going to have any caps for me, but still, you know, I mean, just something to bear in mind. Ooh! A legendary for only 159. I remember when 159 caps was like a ton. It's designed for level 50. But it gives you 40% more power attack damage. And it's a legendary. And it's Grognok's axe. I feel as though I have to buy this, if for nothing else than my brother. A 50 cal machine gun. That's fun. I never actually saw one of those before. Now that I think about it, because of the level and the quality of the gear, I probably actually found my radium rifle up here as compared to down there at Charleston. So yeah, I think I should buy this. I think I should definitely buy this. It's 159 right now. I already have that perk on, by the way, that gives me better prices. So now I just take a little bit of beer. Just take a swig of my new River Red Ale, which gives me 1 charisma. But what's unfortunate, though, is I don't believe you can take 2 different kinds of beer to also increase your charisma. I just drank 2 different bits of beer, but as you can see here, I get +1 charisma. And that's it. Like, the one beer effect overlaps the other beer effect. At least it appears that way. If you go to my special stats, my charisma is up to 4, whereas typically it's 3. So you can't just, like, cheese it that way, unfortunately. What was it? 153? Did actually... 157. Did it actually go down? I'd have to go back and look. By the way, adding charisma will typically help out with prices. Or at least it did in previous Fallout games. But let's go ahead and buy that. I'll give that to my brother. He'll definitely be happy about that. Go ahead and check out the junk here. Nothing I particularly need right now. Those are all good things, but nothing I particularly need. And nothing really here at the notes as well. So it's kind of nice if you like go here and check out all those things. The Exterminator's Grognak's axe is pretty incredible. I'm not going to lie. Now, what I'd like to do as part of my farming run, before we go back to the camp, is I like to head down into Sutton here. And I'm not going to spoil, like, you know, why we go to Sutton here in the main story, but I recommend going down here to Sutton, and the reason why is you can actually farm some pretty good materials here really quickly. So, like I said, there's these scripted events that will happen, right? Well, here's one of them. Wait for it. Did somebody already come here? Somebody actually came here already. Typically, there's a Scorched up there, which is odd. Typically, the moment you walk down here, a bunch of Scorched will instantly attack you. You know what? I'm going to make sure you guys see it. So after rebooting like 3 or 4 times, it turns out that the previous 3 times I came here doing this farming run... oh, there we go. It actually happened this time. What the heck? This is so confusing. So it turns out every time you come into Sutton here, either you're going to walk down the road like I just did, and then all the Scorched are just going to randomly appear and ambush you, or, there's a fire axe there, by the way, or they're all going to be actually in Sutton itself, and actually, like, hanging out on top of the rooftops and things like that. Like, one of those 2 things will apparently happen. My goodness, look at all the stuff here. Hunting rifles and meat hooks and cotton yarn, and now I'm over encumbered, but that's okay. We can actually just go back and scrap all this stuff here in a second. There we go. Grab my new hunting rifle, and kill you as well, and grab that hunting rifle. My goodness, ladies and gentlemen. So what I like to do is after I go up there to the vendor bot up the road, I like to come down here and just explore and see what is actually down here. Sometimes you'll find a little rat inside here, I think. Oh, a straight up mongrel in here this time. He was already hurt. What were you fighting before? Maybe he was fighting the Scorched? I really don't know, but you can sometimes find some decent things inside this. Oh, we have another one. Come on in. I don't have enough AP to do a proper swing at you, so I'll just do it that way. But yeah, you can search in here. It looks like somebody's already been here, but typically you can find some nice ammo or materials and things like that. You can go inside this building, which doesn't really take you anywhere besides up here into the Raider encampment, which sometimes does have some decent things in it. Although I ran out of AP just as I went for the jump right there. Right here you can find a mod. I think it's a random mod almost every single time. A laser gun precise stock. All right. We got ourselves some duct tape there. Got ourselves some brain fungus. Now let's go ahead and scrap all the things that I've carried up so far. I'm still over encumbered by quite a bit because of all the weapons I have. But that'll fix itself over time as I make my way down to the red rocket and drop things off at the end of the run. All right. Can I get to you? You're just up here? All right. Down with you. Thank you for the ammo and thank you for the gun. And then go up here just to check, see if maybe there's anything up here that you might want. I haven't actually found many good things here in this little raider encampment, but you can find some decent things. And then once you're done, you can head inside that house. I won't say the significance of that house. We can go in there and go down to the basement. There's typically going to be some decent-ish stuff down there. But just for the sake of time here for the video, let's go inside the red rocket, which has a bunch of rats apparently. Take it easy. There we go. Grab all that meat. And you can then drop stuff off at your stash, which my stash is quickly starting to fill up with all these weapons. I may have to start breaking them down for materials here soon because all these hunting rifles and 10mm pistols and stuff like that are quickly filling me up. Of course, I can sell them off, a lot of them off, tomorrow when all the caps reset at the vendors, but still, it's getting to be a little bit excessive. So once I'm done looting everything here in Sutton, typically I go a little bit deeper than this. I go into that building, I check out these buildings here and all that stuff. But once I'm done looting everything, I then go back to my camp, right? And the camp is, once again, right underneath Camp McClintock, which is a fantastic place to go if you're looking for ammo and ballistic fiber. Now, because I'm recording and because I would like to show you guys stuff here in this video, chances are nothing's going to spawn because that's how life works most of the time. But most of the time, when you go up to Camp McClintock, you are going to find a bunch of ammo as well as a bunch of ballistic fiber and stuff like that, which is really good for crafting together different pieces of armor and such. But yeah, it's literally right up the road here, which is interesting because I used to farm this place all the time, but I'd never really thought, maybe make a settlement right down the road. I hear something. I also see some mute fruit plants right here, right along the road. But I could have sworn that I've heard something up here. Oh, there it is. Actually made me jump a little bit because I actually didn't know where it was or what it was. I'm sitting there thinking like, maybe it's the Mothman. I don't know. I don't know what sound the Mothman makes. I've actually seen him only one time in my entirety here playing Fallout 76. I was actually walking down from where my brother and I used to have our old settlement, which is right below the Flatwoods Lookout. I was walking down the rocks, heading down here towards Flatwoods, and he was just sitting there on one of the rocks. And he was in like his sitting form, which kind of looks like a black owl with red eyes. And then he flew up into the sky and flew away, and it scared the crap out of me, which is why I jumped a little bit right there because I didn't know what I was looking for, and then that thing popped out at me. But it looks like somebody's already been here. All the doors are already open. That room is already looted. And as I go inside here, we can take a peek-see. We can take a peek-see as to what might be around. But it looks like somebody may have already looted it. But again, this is a very good location to go to if you're looking for ammo and ballistic fiber and things like that. Because, of course, it's a military training facility. You can typically find a good amount of stuff in here, as well as, on occasion, a good amount of alcohol. It just really depends on what's going to be spawned in. Military fatigues right there, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a military ammo bag. That's the big ticket. The ammo bag is what you can break down into ballistic fiber. Ooh, we got some radix right there. So someone was here, but they didn't really do a great job of looting everything. Let's go ahead and check this other room over here. Nothing really all that great. Make sure to check the actual desk itself. All right, now go check the barracks. The barracks are where you can find a lot of the bags as well. This, wood. This, of course, is where people would stay during their time being trained here, but it's looking like, yeah, unfortunately, I told you, that's how life works out, man. That's how life works out. Somebody's already been here, and they've looted most of the good stuff, but at this point, a lot of people already know that this is a really good location to go to farm ballistic fiber, and so as a result, people server hop all the time trying to farm ballistic fiber here. And so typically it's going to be empty depending. But when you can find it, when it's not been looted, this is also a very good location to go to if you're looking to farm some things. But ladies and gentlemen, take that purified water. That is pretty much all I have for you guys here in this video. There is one thing I forgot to do, which was go upstairs here inside the military base itself. So we'll go ahead and do that. Upstairs, there's a door that you can typically open with a lockpick and find some things within it. So go ahead and check that out really quickly. But yeah, that's how I've been farming things here in Fallout 76, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. Of course, it's actually fun to, actually play the game and go out and do missions and explore new locations and do things like that. But it's also pretty fun to just, you know, go in here and be able to farm out a bunch of different things as well and get yourself set up for the later game. Man, he really did everything. This was the door you have to typically lockpick to get open. But yeah, this guy, whoever was here previously, they really did loot everything. Sometimes you can find some things in this room as well. Pork and beans. Ooh, bottle caps, shotgun shells, plastic bowl. Plastic's always good. Gold pocket watch. Yeah, somebody was definitely here. Literally everything that involves you lockpicking has already been taken. But what was that? Why is he hurt? I have no idea. I really have no idea. But let's go back to the camp here. I realize it's literally right down the hill. Why can't I click my camp? Come on, Fallout 76. Why do we have to have so many bugs and problems? I can click that, but I can't click that. Oh, now I can click it. My goodness. My goodness. Hey, that's at the Mothman Museum. There was no Mothman at the Mothman Museum, for me anyway. But that screenshot there is from when we actually went to the Mothman Museum. And then at the end of my long run here, I come back. I grab my steel scrap. I grab my water, and then I reharvest all my plants, which typically they grow back pretty quickly as well. So, again, because I bought that fertilizer earlier, uh-oh, I'm being attacked by a dog. My turrets are trying to get it, but it's here in the corner, and it can't actually do anything. There we go. Wait, I grabbed that really quickly. Was that flamer fuel that I just grabbed off that dog? That's freaking absurd. But yeah, your plants will grow back pretty quickly. And with all that fertilizer that I just bought, I'll be able to plant a bunch more food here, which is pretty fantastic. Yeah, I got 20 fertilizer. I'm going to have to expand this somehow. I don't think I'm going to do it this exact second, but I'm going to need to expand the farm here and do a plantation pretty soon, which will be pretty fantastic. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you guys here in this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, please drop me a rating, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.